In this video, I'm going to show you how to create the perfect bedtime routine so you can fall asleep faster, sleep deeper, and feel more energized when you wake up in the morning so you can be more productive, have more quality time with your kids, with your wife, and overall just be more energized and be more happy. And it doesn't really matter if you're struggling with too much screen time, too much stress. This is the perfect video for you so you can help avoid those things and fall asleep faster and overall improve your life. I'm going to share with you a simple 4-step plan that is going to tell you exactly what to do and when to do it. And then in the end, I'm going to show you some advanced tips for those days, those special days where the 4-step plan will not work. Could be due to too much stress or whatever the reason might be. Because the truth is, a lot of men like us, they have issues falling asleep because we have a lot of responsibilities. It could be your business, it could be your family, whatever it is. Maybe your employees are not performing as well. Maybe you're not reaching your goals in your business. Maybe there's something going on with your kid at his school. Whatever it is, we manage a lot of responsibility, and having the ability to turn off so you can fall asleep faster, or giving you that kind of off switch, that can really help you improve your sleep and then afterwards improve energy levels so you can tackle those challenges. And just like with everything else, you shouldn't accept bad sleep, just like you wouldn't accept having bad health. Because there is a reason that we sleep 30% of our entire lives, especially if you do sleep properly. So solving your sleep usually comes down to one thing, and that is having a good bedtime routine. That's also what we call sleep hygiene, and that's what we will be discussing today. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Raphael Al-Najaar. I'm a medical doctor, and I work with business owners all around the world to optimize their health entirely, from sleep, from food, whatever it is. And I like to say that I make them superhuman in all endeavors, physical and mental. So, let's get into it. First, we're going to talk about why it's even important to have a bedtime routine. Then, we will be discussing the 4-step plan. And then in the end, I'm going to show you the advanced tips that I have for you. So, why does it even matter to have a good bedtime routine? Let's see if I can, there we go. So, the first reason is the natural clock. We have our circadian rhythm, which is our inner clock. Our body follows that every single day. And we set that circadian rhythm, we set that inner clock by going to sleep and waking up. That controls a lot of different functions inside of our bodies, inside of our brains. And having an inner clock that works and that is working at the same time or functions at the same time as you're up, for example, or you're being productive, is vital for your health and for your success. And this circadian rhythm, this inner clock, is being influenced by a lot of things, by stress, by lights, by your thoughts. All of these things, they influence the circadian rhythm. So we have to be able to manage those factors and those variables. The second thing is stress and overstimulation. In this day and age, it is very, very easy to be overstimulated. There are screens everywhere, blue light everywhere, artificial light everywhere, and that stimulates us. Whether you're on social media, you're watching videos, whatever you're doing, being overstimulated is very, very easy. Now, stress is also a part. And being a man, it's impossible to be stress-free. You should look to be stress-free. I don't believe you should do that. But you should at least be able to manage that stress. And having that off switch, being able to go to sleep, using that as an off switch, can be a superpower for your overall health and overall performance in your life. And then the last one we have is quality over quantity. If you sleep 7 to 8 hours, you might think, okay, that's it. I'm good. Everything is good. I don't need to sleep more. But that is far from the truth. Because here, like with a lot of other things, quality is over quantity. We need to be able to sleep good. We need to have deep sleep. We need to have REM sleep. You can't just sleep 7, 8 hours and then wake up and you're like, I'm not even energized, but I slept 7, 8 hours. So those two things, they're connected. It has to be quality sleep. And you make sure, or you at least increase your chance of having quality sleep by having a bedtime routine. Because the bedtime routine is also how you tell your brain, now it's time to fall asleep. Now it's time to start the program for you to be able to fall asleep faster and start sending out some of those molecules in your brain that will help you but cleanse your brain of toxins and generally just do whatever your brain has to do during the night. So, the important things is setting your circadian rhythm, your inner clock, managing stress and overstimulation, and in the end, working on increasing the quality of your sleep and not only the quantity. Now that we understand these important things for why a bedtime routine even matters, let's get into the specific 4-step plan. First step is disconnecting from screens. I just mentioned that it is very easy for us to be overstimulated by screens overall, artificial lights and blue lights. So being able to disconnect from these screens, from your computers, from your laptops, from your phones, from the TVs, and the lights, the artificial light, the blue light, those are one of the most important things, one of the vital things for you to be able to tell your brain, now is actually time to fall asleep. You might be wondering, why is it even important? You've heard this a lot. I bet you have. Screens are not good, and it's due to the blue light. So the blue light in the screens will tell your brain that it's still time to be awake. Now, our brains are very smart, but they can also be a little bit stupid. So we've evolved to being outside all day, and when the sun goes down, that's a sign that we need to fall asleep. But being inside in the modern world, we have screens and we have lights everywhere. So we are always bombarded with artificial lights and with blue lights. And so what happens inside our brains through our eyes, because our eyes are an extension of the brains, the blue light hits our eyes and it sends a signal to the brain. And what is that signal? That signal is not to produce melatonin. And you might have heard about melatonin. It's a hormone. It is the main sleep hormone. When the blue light hits the eyes and it tells our brain not to produce melatonin, it's harder for us to fall asleep. And so when we remove the lights, when we remove the screens, we are not getting that signal anymore. And our brain starts producing melatonin. And that will help us not only falling asleep, but staying asleep overall and increasing the quality of our sleep too. So what I do is, obviously, I try to avoid screens at night, but I also use blue light blockers. Because in this day and age, we cannot always avoid the screens. We have to do some work. Maybe we have late night meetings, whatever it is. So that's why I use blue light blockers. You can get the transparent ones, which are decent, but you can also get the orange ones, which remove approximately 99% of all blue light, which will help you in the end fall asleep way faster. And so once you've done that, once you've put on your blue light blockers or removed all screens and artificial light, it's time to move on to the second step, which is creating a calming environment. Now, the calming environment, again, is actually about the screens and the lights. We need to have not blue light, but more yellowish, orangish hues of the lights that we use. If we can have natural lights like candles, that's even better. Because again, then we avoid some of the blue lights. And we're not telling our brain that it needs to be active when we have white lights and blue lights. Another thing to add is controlling the temperature and the noise. You might think it's crazy, but your bedroom should ideally be around 18 degrees Celsius or 65 degrees Fahrenheit. You might think that's cold, but that's actually the most optimal for your brain. So, with noise, you obviously also want to avoid noise as well. So you're avoiding the stimulation. This is all about avoiding the stimulation, whether that's noise, whether that's light, or whether that's the feeling inside the room. When you've created that relaxing environment and calming environment, it is time to relax your mind. You relax the mind by avoiding thrillers, by avoiding reading non-fictional books, and by avoiding listening to podcasts or music that gets you hyped. Obviously, you want to avoid having an increase in your, let's say, I don't want to say I don't want to say having an increase in your mood, because obviously you should always strive to be happy, but you should avoid being more active in your mind, having more active thoughts, whether that's in your business, whether you're reading something that's very dramatic, so it gets your thoughts going. You want to avoid that overall. So how can you do that? You can read books, but again, avoid nonfiction books, avoid dramas, avoid thrillers. Read something light. Listen to something light if you're listening to music, if you like to do that. You could also do meditation. You can focus on your breath. These actions are very calming and help you relax overall. Especially if you do meditation, and if you've done it for quite some time, you know how to get into it pretty fast, and that can help you look at yourself from a bird's eye perspective and really getting rid of some of those thoughts and those emotions that might be bugging you at that time. You can also do journaling before going to bed. Really, literally, you take your pen and then you just journal whatever you're thinking. You're writing out whatever you're thinking. That helps you take out those thoughts, whatever they might be, take them out and put them on paper. Because it's hard to explain, but it's a very, very nice sensation being able to physically remove those thoughts by writing them down on paper, not having to remember whatever it is. That's also a productivity hack that you can use for whenever you're sitting down, you're working, getting some work done, and then you remember, I have to do that as well. And so instead of having to force yourself to remember afterwards, you just scribble it down, put it away, and then get back to work. It's the exact same thing here. When you have to fall asleep, write down whatever you're thinking about. As basic as you might think it sounds, it actually works, because you're removing those thoughts practically, physically, taking them out of your brain, and then putting them on paper, and that way being able to fall asleep faster. So by this time of your routine, you should be able to have a calmer mind and in general just be in a less active mental state and also physical state. So you have to move on to the fourth step, which is preparing for bed. And whatever you might do, if you go brush your teeth, if you make your bed, whatever that is, it has to be overall the same routine you do every single day. Because again, our brain will recognize those patterns. Our brain, like I said, it's not that smart. When it sees something, it recognizes that pattern. It knows, okay, when I do this, then after that comes this. So if you always brush your teeth, take a hot shower, make your bed, lay in your comfortable, cold bed, it knows, okay, now I have to fall asleep. So it's way easier for you that way, creating those patterns for your brain to recognize, so it's easier for you to fall asleep afterwards again. Some people also like to drink a little bit of water. There's nothing wrong with that, but obviously if you chug a lot of water, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night, so you can go to the bedroom. Not to the bedroom, so you can go to the bathroom. And that is obviously not so good. That will disturb your sleep. So avoid doing that so you won't go to the bathroom in the middle of the night to disturb your sleep. And I know that we're in the preparation for bed or prep yourself for bed, but there is one thing that I wanted to mention here as well, which is your caffeine intake. Now, your caffeine intake is something that you stop way before the sleep hygiene, way before the nightly routine. It's not part of the nightly routine, but it's very, very important that you stop your caffeine intake at least 6-9 hours, sometimes 12 hours before going to bed. If you don't do that, then all of these things are going to have a hard time working. So now we've talked about the 4-step plan. Again, let's sum it up. You disconnect from screens. You create a calming environment, whether that's in your mind or physical environment. Then you relax the mind. Very, very important. And then in the end, you prepare for bed. That is the sleep hygiene. That is the routine that you do every single day. And also use that as a signal to your brain to tell it, now we have to go to bed. So now we can talk a little bit about some of the advanced stuff that you can do on those days where you simply cannot fall asleep even after doing the 4 steps that we just talked about. The first step is breathing exercises. There's this common method called the 4-7-8 method, where you breathe in for 4, hold your breath for 7, and then exhale for 8 seconds. Do that for a couple of cycles, and you will feel that will calm you even more. You could pair this with relaxing in your muscles and removing some of that tension. When you lay down in your bed and your eyes are closed, focus on relaxing the tension from top to bottom or from bottom to top, whatever you like to do while doing these breathing exercises. Those two paired will help you feel more relaxed and get into that feeling of now I can fall asleep again. The second thing is you can use supplements. Now, there are supplements that will make you fall asleep. There are medication that will make you fall asleep. I don't believe that's a good idea for the general public. You should usually take something that can help your muscles recover, because when you have muscle recovery, your muscles will relax more and they're not tense. So you can take something like a zinc supplementation. You can take magnesium supplementation for that. That will help your body overall just relax more and remove some of that tension so you can fall asleep faster. Now that's not something that you do if you cannot fall asleep. That's more something that you would probably do if you're feeling that your muscles are sore, if you've worked out a lot, then you can start doing that as well. But that's usually something you need to do a little bit before going to sleep, because it's not going to put you out like sleeping pills would. Now, there are sleeping pills, and I'm not going to talk about that today because that's out of the scope of this video. I usually also think that's a very bad idea. You can use it for jet lag, for example. Some people, they use melatonin. That's the hormone, the sleep hormone that we talked about. They use that for jet lag, and you can do that. It's not solving the root issue here, right? It's just like a Band-Aid. So as a Band-Aid, if you have jet lag, you can use it for 1-2 days, but nothing more than that. I would recommend that in general. And then in the end, if you cannot sleep, you should get out of the bed. You should not look at your bed as a place where you just lay down and do nothing. Your bed is made for two things: sleep and sex, and that's it. And if you cannot sleep for more than 20 minutes, you should get up, do a little bit of stretching, move around a little bit, not too much, but just move around a little bit before you start feeling, that sensation of, okay, now I can fall asleep again. And then you go to bed, and then you try to fall asleep. So these were the 4-step plan and some of the more advanced tips that you can use. Using these combined will help you fall asleep 99% of every single time. So if you are a man who struggles with stress, with overstimulation, follow the 4-step plan. That is the basics, those things you need to do. And that you will see that those 4 things, those will help you the most in general, just to make you fall asleep faster and sleep way deeper. So again, having that nighttime routine, have that sleep hygiene, giving your brain that pattern to recognize, overall will help you fall asleep way faster. And then you can wake up in the morning, you have way more energy, you can perform, you can produce, you can be the father, you can be the business owner, you can be the partner that you need to be for those around you. And if you really want to know how to increase your mental and physical performance, how to eat for better mental and physical performance, you can watch this video right here where I share with you my exact strategy for doing that, even as a busy man who not necessarily eats at home every single day, but eats out, goes out to dinners, doing all these things. That video is made for guys who are ambitious and busy and wants more out of a life. Another thing you can do is you can join my free group that you can find in the link in the description down below. You can also get on a call with me. If you're a guy who prioritizes time over money, you have some money you want to invest in your health, we can have a talk about what we can do for your health. There's another link in the description down there. Now, there's nothing more to see than like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time.